So I've always been a huge fan of the Harry Potter series. You could say I'm like a huge Harry Potter nerd, honestly. And being a filmmaker and editor as well, one thing I love about the Harry Potter movies is the way the effects were done and how the effects evolved over the years as the movies were made. These movies really hold a special place in my heart because I kind of grew up with these movies. Kind of grew up, you know, as Harry grew up as well. I was sort of kind of the same age he was when most of the movies came out. And by the time the later movies were coming out, I was really getting into visual effects and editing and learning a lot of the ways that they made the effects in these movies and how to kind of do them in a way where you don't have to use, you know, the software that they used in these movies. They weren't going and shooting these movies and using After Effects and Premiere to edit and do the effects for it. They were using much more advanced software. But the great thing about these effects are because the Harry Potter series is so prevalent, people have found many ways to go and replicate effects that are similar to what you see in these movies and do them in a way where they're much more capable to do at home if you're using After Effects or other similar software. And today I'm going to specifically break down this scene from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, where we have the two magical spells combining here and colliding and creating this effect that they call Priori Incantatem. And I'm going to show you how you can replicate this effect back at home using VFX programs such as After Effects, and how there's actually even multiple ways to do these effects nowadays. Before we get into it, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I post videos every Thursdays and Sundays, filmmaking, VFX, editing videos, and with that, let's get right into it. Okay, so this is one of the most iconic scenes in the series when Voldemort comes back to life here, and he has a wand duel here with Harry, and it creates one of the most memorable effects that's done in the Harry Potter universe. It's the Priori Incantatem, and this is an effect that tons of people on YouTube and other sources have replicated over the years, and it's something we've replicated ourselves in CK Productions. And when you look into it, you break it down, it's actually a bit more simpler than you think. You know, I remember when I saw this effect, I was amazed, like, wow, that's so cool. They're doing all these cool, amazing effects. And now that I'm learning effects and stuff like that, I'm just like, oh, that's awesome. It looks really cool. I can do something like that. So if you look at kind of the big picture here, this is the best angle to kind of look at it. So we have two different sources here, with one being red, the Expelliarmus, and one being the Avada Kedavra green. And from the tip of the wand, we have a light source here, sort of kind of a lens flare source on each of the wands, and that's motion tracked onto the wands here. They use motion tracking software to keep that on there. For sure, that's also, you know, similar to how they do the Lumos effect a lot. You got the light source tracked onto here, that's one part of the effect, and then you have the lightning bolt coming off of it for the spells. And whatever, you know, lightning bolt effect that they used for this, it had sort of an end spot and a start spot. The origin spot is also kind of motion tracked, where they have their wands moving. And for this, I've seen this kind of done a couple different ways in the Harry Potter series. For this particular scene, it looks like they just use kind of a lightning bolt or lightning beam sort of effect here. Sometimes what they do is a stream of particle effects. It's like a stream of thousands of particles coming from one origin, and they're all kept within the boundaries of sort of a tube-like thing here, and the tube is distorted, and that kind of creates more of a little bit of a texture. What's cool here also is coming off of the spells here, they have a bunch of particle effects coming off of the spells here and falling onto the ground and flying, and it's really cool because when the camera moves around, it does a little bit of parallax covering the screen here. And then you have the convergence here, and the convergence here is basically just done with a fractal layer here in the middle, and just really blown out and proportionate and blurred a bit. So it's looking like this big ball of light that's in there, and it's pulsating. So they're using expressions in there to make the brightness of it pulsate over and over again. And I'm sure that they did some of this also on set as well, using a lot of lighting effects on set. Here in the particles in the middle, they're a little bit more liquefied. There's still a particle generator that they used, kind of the same particle generator they use the rest of these. This is more of a vector blur to it, a little bit more liquefied to it. They could have used something a little bit more like a liquefied plugin for one of the programs that they used. And what's important is you see these particles hit the ground here and see the kind of gooiness hit the ground, this gooey, the magicness hit the ground here. And that's basically the gist of the effect here. What's obviously enhanced about it is the practical effects that they use on set. And if you have the opportunity to do that, definitely do that, you know, blow wind to the face and adding those extra, you know, glowing lights. Not too complicated of an effect, and it's something that can definitely be done with a number of different ways in After Effects. And so let's go ahead and look at one of the effects that we did for CK Productions a few years ago.
I'm gonna get you, you demon!
You're the demon.
Oh yeah.
Typified.
Oh no, I'm stupid!
I forgot that it cut to the shot like this. That's really funny. So we go back here and we take a look at the shot we did here. Obviously, the shot that we did here, obviously I did not spend nearly probably as much time, but you can see here, it's kind of the same concept. So we have, you know, light source on either side. We have lightning bolt effect converging together and a light ball in the middle, and particles flying as well. So what you can do for this way, a pretty easy way to do it, is to use some Video Copilot plugins. And so one of the plugins, it's not a free plugin, but it's something that I think is well worth the investment, is optical flares. And optical flares is a way that you can make lens flares very easily, and you can change them and you can customize them to however you want them to be and make them any color that you want. And what we have here is 2 optical flares on either side of their wands here, motion tracked onto the wand. And I'm sure that there's probably an optical flare here in the middle as well, and kind of blurred out. And along with the optical flare itself, you know, if you don't want to go and invest the money in getting optical flares, there's other resources that you can get lens flares for as well, and go ahead and you can change them to look in the color that you want. But another plugin that we use for this one, and another plugin that's very helpful, is the Saber plugin from Video Copilot. And this one's great because it's a free plugin. With the Saber plugin, you can go and you can make sort of this lightning type of effect here. You can use it for lightsabers, you can use it for magical effects like this, and they have a bunch of presets that you can do that have, you know, different distortions to them and stuff. And I think one of them even might be a Harry Potter type of preset, and it has that distortion. It has the little fractal kind of edges to it, and you can put an end spot and a start spot to it, and you just animate those end spots and start spots to be where you want them to be, and obviously make them what color you want. That's just kind of an easier, you know, quicker way to do it. Another way you can do these lightning effects is you can just use the advanced lightning tool in After Effects that comes built in with it. If you mess around with the settings a bit, you'll get kind of a similar effect to what they did the movie. That's actually what we did for our very first Harry Potter film that we did many years ago, Accio Awesomeness. We used the advanced lightning effect tool in After Effects because Saber and some other, you know, things didn't exist at that point. And obviously in the middle here we have the fractal noise happening along with the brightness. There's an optical flare in there, just very bright and very kind of blown out. There's a fractal noise layer in the middle there that's animated to have these sort of fringes here animating, and we have particle layers coming off of here, particular layers coming off of here. You can do this particular or with just particle world that's built into After Effects. Particle layers flying off here in different directions, some flying up here and some flying on the ground and hitting the ground and staying on the ground, and some of them a little bit more liquefied coming out of the center here, and coming out of the spells themselves more of just the round solid particles here. What I probably could have done more is that probably should have came off a little faster here. And one thing that kind of topped it off was since we didn't really do much lighting on set, they did more practical lighting on the set of the Harry Potter movie, but we did just some glowing solid layers in the ground to kind of, you know, show sort of a way as the light of this effect is affecting the ground. Honestly, there are tons and tons of resources on YouTube to do this with. In the future, maybe I'll do a breakdown of this effect and some of the other effects as well in After Effects step by step. But, you know, there's a lot of resources right now that you can go and you can look at and make your own Priori Incantatem effect and do it similar to the way that they did it in the movies. Year by year, there's more and more tools that come out to make this process a lot more easier and a lot of different ways you can do it. So that's it for this VFX breakdown. For the next video, I'm going to be going over some more of the specific Harry Potter spell effects and break those down and show some After Effects examples of those as well. If you have any other questions or requests for other Harry Potter effects you want me to break down, be sure to comment those down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. I post videos every Thursdays and Sundays about VFX breakdowns, filmmaking tutorials, and all other fun stuff like that. With that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.